Happy Monday, everybody. It's Kenny Lamons here with Medicare Millennials, where I chronicle live my journey to building a large, successful Medicare agency and book of business. I wanted to come at you guys today at the beginning of the week because today I was supposed to be in the office. I got a phone call from a very old client that was in just a big mess. They needed some help, so I drove about 45 miles out of my way to go see her this morning, headed back to the office now. So, the point of this video, and I'm going to use that client as an example today, is it's a bit of a hot take, probably an unpopular opinion, but I think that a lot of insurance agents need to learn to sell less insurance policies. So what do I mean by that? What I mean is that too often we find ourselves as agents, we just want the business, we just want to earn a little bit of money and build a little bit faster, and we write bad business. And I don't mean unethical or that you did anything to hurt anyone on purpose by any means, but just maybe if you were 2 years in the future, 4 years in the future, and you looked back, you would have regretted the stress that came with that sale of insurance, okay? So I'll give you two quick examples here, and then I'll kind of put it into perspective. So the first client this morning, I sold her 2.5 years ago. It was a combo sale, so a Medicare supplement and a final expense, pretty large final expense policy. Great, that was awesome. However, at the time when I sold that, I had advised her, because she had kind of mentioned, budget was tight. She runs a little ranch and doesn't have a lot of expendable income. It all goes back into her livestock. So I had advised her that she was carrying like several accidental life policies that were kind of expensive, a term life policy, a heart attack and stroke policy, a cancer policy, a hospital policy. And look, a lot of those things can be great in the right situation, but since she did have a Medicare supplement and a limited budget, I just advised her, let's look at what's most important to you, what you need and what you don't need, maybe cut some of the extra out. And she kind of, no, I can afford all this, everything's gonna be okay, yada yada yada. So she didn't really take my advice, but she did put her Medicare supplement and her whole life insurance with me. Great. Well, 1.5 years later, two or three other people she had met with over the years had added more and more ancillary and supplemental insurance, to the point where she was paying nearly $700 a month on all of these products. So I had to go back out there and, a little bit out of my way and kind of help her fix it and sift through a bunch of policies, see what was worth keeping and what wasn't. Well, guys, look, if that happens once in a blue moon, it's not a big deal. But if every time, you're not pressing hard enough to advise these people and really look at their budget, you're going to find yourself back tracing and going back and seeing people and putting out fires that you didn't even start to begin with. And it really is just, you don't want to start your Monday out like that, guys. It's just something that we can learn to be smart about and avoid. So be very forceful and straightforward about what somebody can afford and what they can't. Second example, I had a lady last week. She was desperate for some help. 3 of her inhalers weren't even covered on her prescription drug plan, and her Medicare supplement plan F had gone up to like $250 a month. So 3 drugs not covered. They're wanting $600 something a month for her to get her medicine. $250 a month premium out the gates, and her income's like $1,000 a month. Come on, let's be realistic. That's not sustainable, especially as those rates increase over time. So we go through the whole process, and I advise her. I say, look, the only plan that covers all of your medications is a Medicare Advantage plan in this circumstance. It's the only one that all your doctors take and covers all your medications. So I won't go into the details, but it was just a no-brainer. This was gonna really solve a lot of the issues she was having, and it was all gonna stay within budget. But for whatever reason, this was just one of those clients that just was so hard-headed. They wanted to stick with the Medicare supplement regardless. Well, give the people what they want. So the only thing she was really willing to do was switch to a new Medicare supplement at a better rate. I'm thinking, well, it's better than nothing. It's still going to save her some money, even though it's not ultimately what I would recommend that she did. Boy, was that a headache, guys. So these are the type of things I'm talking about. The new Medicare supplement company drafts her policy early, overdrafts her account. She can barely afford what she has to begin with. So not only do I have to put that fire out and spend a lot of time trying to get, the money put back in and fixed and ready to go, but all the while she's also saying, well, this doesn't really, even when we get this worked out, it doesn't fix my problem with my drugs. Well, of course she didn't take my recommendation, so this solution didn't fix all of her problems. Again, guys, that's a rookie mistake on my part. I'm looking back on the time I spent going back and helping her fix everything. At the end of the day, we have got to learn to work smarter and not always harder. More policies doesn't always equal more long-term income, or even more short-term income for that matter. So I just want to encourage you guys, as you work with your trainers and your mentors, you watch videos like this, you really have to look at the clientele that you're working with. And some clients are more trouble than others, and the writing will be all over the wall. So they're too stubborn to take your recommendation. They're buying more insurance than they can afford. They're, very picky and aggressive and whiny about their current situation, but they don't want to accept help. Guys, this business isn't just about how many policies you can write. It's about having good relationships with those clients and business that sticks on the books, and relationships you're happy with and that aren't overly stressful. Because, if somebody told you they'd pay you $1 million, but you had to dig a hole to China, right, it's not really worth what they're asking you to do. You're never going to be able to get it done. We have to look at some of our business relationships and our sales here in the insurance world the same way. Like, what's worth your time? What's going to be more of a headache than it's worth? What's likely going to go back? I'll give you a few other examples, and this is a super unpopular opinion with a lot of agents and IMOs and recruiters out there. I just gave you 2 examples in the Medicare world. I'll give you a couple more examples with life insurance. I don't sell direct express business anymore. Why does somebody have a direct express card? Why? Most of the time, it's because unfortunately they haven't been responsible enough. They're maybe not even allowed to open a bank account anymore because they didn't manage their money properly. They owed the bank money, were never able to pay it back. So the only way for them to receive their Social Security or SSI income is on that direct express card. Now, I'm not here to say that those people don't deserve to have insurance coverage, okay? But unless it's a very rare circumstance where I go against my better judgment, I just stick to it now after being burned time and time again, that if somebody does not have a bank account to pay for their life insurance, it's not business that I personally want to write. I'll let somebody else do that. I'll guide them in another direction and let them take care of that over the phone or with another agent. Maybe unpopular, but it has reduced stress in my life. I write better business because of it that sticks around longer. Another example, guaranteed issue final expense insurance. Again, there's exceptions. We want to help people where we can help people. But did you know, number one, you get paid dramatically less on a guaranteed issue policy, which it's not all about money, but that's something to take into consideration. And on top of that, if you wrote a day one level coverage policy and somebody passed away or canceled 9 months later, you're only going to be charged back a prorated amount depending how long they kept the policy. That's manageable. It's something you can handle. You don't ever want someone to cancel, and of course we hate when people pass away, our clients especially, but that's manageable from a financial and business standpoint. What isn't manageable is being on the hook, writing a guaranteed issue policy, right? Which means that they have some pretty chronic or severe health issues. They pass away of no fault of your own 6, 8, 10 months later. You're not just on the hook for what for the prorated amount for how long they've kept it. They're going to charge you back the entire first year commissions in that first year, at least with the guaranteed issue product I sell. That's not very manageable. That's not very wise from a business perspective. So again, I don't want it to sound like I'm saying you never write direct express, never sell people that don't take your recommendation, never write guaranteed issue products. What I would say is, how much stress are you willing to take on? How much chargeback risk are you willing to take on? And sometimes less is more. What's more manageable and lets you just focus on a very targeted sales process with good, solid business with people that are able to afford comfortably what you're wanting to help them with. So yeah, guys, to sum it all up, you know, take all of that with a grain of salt. That none of this is like law here. It's just, I share my true personal experience, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I want you guys to know that as time progresses, more and more I find myself walking away from business and wishing them well or guiding them in, you know, to another resource, because I want an efficient, low stress, long-term, good relationship business on the books. And I think this video will just kind of outline some things you can learn to avoid, or at times at least think twice before you make that sale. Anyway, hope you guys have a great week. Sorry, it's Monday, still trying to wake up, I guess. And have a successful sale. A lot of Medicare policies or any other insurance policies, but be smart about it. See you guys.